What is good, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Undiluted Football Show. I'm your host, Toni Afoke. If you don't know by now, you should get to know. As I fix up my camera and make sure I look decent so you guys can watch me talk about football. How are you guys? Hope you're all well. But let's get straight into this. Now, Man City dominate Chelsea and make a statement. What a statement win for Pep Guardiola and Man City at Stamford Bridge. Gabby Jesus got the only goal and the winner. And you know what? We even said this last week. We've been saying it at the start of the season, and they are Champions League winners. But Chelsea were, Chelsea were running around like their park. They were running around saying, "Yeah, we got Guardiola's number. We've beaten him 3 times." I was telling Chelsea fans, beating Guardiola 3 times in the season is nothing special. I've seen Ole Gunnar Solskjaer do it, so obviously, they beat them in the FA Cup semi-final and the Champions League final, bigger stakes, but still. Pep Guardiola came back and said, hold on, you guys need to recognize who I am. I've won 3 Premier Leagues in 4 seasons, and boom, got the win. And it's kind of given Chelsea a reality check, right? But watching the game and looking at it, Chelsea were quite poor. Another big game that Romelu Lukaku doesn't score in. I've been saying this on weeks and previous episodes, but big game Rom. Chelsea fans will still learn about big game Rom, and I will tell them that. But anyway, I digress. A very good win for Man City. They came to Stamford Bridge. They had a game plan, and they were the better team. Chelsea had like 9 men behind the ball, playing Tuchel ball as you will. Chelsea tried to make it difficult for them, and at the end of the day, City still got the win. So it just blows the race wide open because even me, myself, was saying, "Oh, you know what? How can I see City winning this without a striker?" But if you can go to the European champions home and beat them 1-0 comfortably, shows that maybe you just don't need a striker, or maybe Gabby Jesus is that guy. I don't even believe that City fans think Gabby Jesus is that guy, but they got the job done, so big up Man City. And Chelsea fans needed that humbling, in my opinion. As I said, they were running around like their part. Tuchel was getting, best coach and stuff like that, and Chelsea the best team in the world. But it's good because no shots on target, that's not good, man. That's not good enough. I don't care who you're playing. If you're playing Man City, you've got to get a shot on target. I know they got a goal disallowed, but it was offside, so it's what it is. But Chelsea didn't create enough. They were quite stale. Kante had a shocker. And it is what it is with Chelsea. I feel like they use this as a reality check. Let's see how they bounce back. But let's get on to the other side of Manchester, my side of Manchester, the red side. And another poor performance. I know everyone's screaming Ole out and he's the scapegoat, but I look at this team. This is my own personal opinion, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion, of course. But I look at this team and I'm thinking to myself, if we get another manager in right now, does it make a massive difference? And I don't even know, because yesterday, I don't even think yesterday was a tactic. We can get into the nitty-gritties of the tactics and whatever, but I feel like the players just didn't turn up yesterday. People were poor. Maguire was poor before he got injured off. Shaw was poor, unfortunately. There was a time where Matty Cash just ran in behind him, and if Target just literally put his foot there, he skied it over, thank God, but could have scored. And Aston Villa, you know what? I can get onto Man United, but I think credit to Aston Villa. The game of a game plan, they pressed us and they played very well. Their fullbacks got high. And if anyone's watched Man United over the past couple of years, is the way to beat them is play 5 at the back and stretch that field out, because they all go off to one side. Like, look at it. If anyone remembers the Leipzig game and the ways we conceded our goals through Leipzig games with their wing backs, like Man United's biggest, I'm giving away our secret, but I feel like people know this by now. Man United's biggest weakness is wing backs, because we play that back 4 and it shifts to one side. If you're good enough to switch the ball from wing back to wing back, then you're going to cause problems for Man United, especially with a massive pitch like Old Trafford. It's just a recipe for disaster. I can talk about the offside. At the end of the day, Aston Villa's goal was offside. Whether I like it or not, it is what it is. We literally saw Harvey Barnes twice last week against Brighton get called offside, and he wasn't even touching the keeper, and then literally seconds before it was kicked, Lee Watkins is on the keeper. So if we're gonna if we're gonna be strict on one and not strict on the other, it doesn't make sense. I feel like we need consistency with VAR and stuff like that. But take nothing away from Aston Villa. I feel like they deserve to win the game anyway. Bruno missed a penalty, which is a rare thing, and now Ronaldo's going to probably be on penalties. But I look at this United team, and there's just no one controlling that midfield, and I don't get how you can be a team like Manchester United and not control that midfield, especially at your home ground. United's last 8 Premier League away win, all our Premier League away wins have been at home. So clearly, we just can't control the game at home. People don't come to Old Trafford and pray for a draw anymore, and it's quite sad. And I've said it. If we want to get down to the tactics, Pogba on the wing bar. I know he got 7 assists in 4 games, and yes, Pogba does need to play higher the pitch, but I don't think wing bar is the answer, especially when Rashford is going to come back and probably solidify his place on that left wing. Where does that leave Pogba? Pogba needs to play in the midfield. We just need a defensive midfielder. Like, as much as we signed Ronaldo, we signed Sancho, we signed Varane, and I've been screaming this for years, and someone can quote me on how long I've been trying to get that McFred pivot out of my team for years, is that United need a defensive midfielder. You need that someone that's control the game, that can pick the ball off the back four and just calm the game down, dictate play. Until we have that, do not expect anything from Man United. I keep saying this, and I know that we've signed Ronaldo and we've done and Sancho and all these big signings, but it hasn't solved our biggest problem, which is that midfield, because McTominay and Fred are just not good enough, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Until we sign a defensive midfielder, I'm not expecting anything from Man United. Once we sign that defensive midfielder, and if it's still like this, then by all means, Oli can go and whatever. But I just feel like they're just going to be so boring, not boring to watch, because it's going to be end-to-end stuff. But as a fan, sometimes you don't want end-to-end stuff. Sometimes I just want my team to, dare I say it, play like City and just dominate a game and just have a lot of possession of the ball and create chances. Like, is that so much to ask? But until we do that, until we sign that defensive midfielder that can just hold the ball and just play the ball, the ones that just get touches on the game, is just constantly on the ball like a Pirlo. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying we need to sign that specific mold by Pirlo, but just that type of midfielder, that, because unfortunately Fred and McTominay, they shy away from the ball, and why would you want that from your midfielder? I want that person, that defensive midfielder we need to sign, to be literally right in front of the centre backs and asking for the ball in every situation, kind of like a Sandro Tonali type, for anyone that has watched Sassuolo or now Juventus. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about Man United because this isn't a Man United show. Credit to Aston Villa, they won 1-0. We go into the Champions League next week against Villarreal, so we shall see. We shall see what's going on. But also in the Prem, United dropped points, City gained points, Chelsea dropped points, Liverpool dropped points as well. And what a game this was. They went away to the Brentford Community Stadium and found themselves 1-0 down, 2-1 up, 3-2 up, and then conceded 3-2. Now, I don't want to touch too much on the Liverpool thing, but I feel like we should, because Brentford are a good side, right? Brentford are a very good side right now for someone that's just been promoted from the Premier League, and it looks like they're going to be in the Premier League for next year at least. I'm not going to predict too much into the future, but Ivan Toney looked like a problem for Van Dijk. The last goal, you can kind of blame it on Trent. It was poor defending from Liverpool. And this makes me feel like, you know what, as good as Liverpool are, as good as Liverpool can score goals, Liverpool can get got at. And if they can get got at by Brentford, imagine when they come up against the big teams. Now, I know Chelsea looked pretty decent in the first half. Before the red card, they looked very decent against Liverpool. So who knows? Who knows? Can Liverpool get got at? Who's this team? Now we've seen that everyone, well, it is the Premier League, anyone can hold it, right? We've seen everyone lose so far except for Liverpool. Liverpool still didn't lose, right? They didn't lose, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But to concede a late equaliser, especially when they could have gone 3 points ahead and now they're only 1 point ahead, is not the greatest scenarios for Liverpool. But they're still top of the table, so you really can't complain. And at the end of the day, Liverpool can get got at. If Brentford can do it, I feel like other teams are going to look at that. Not taking anything away from Brentford, but if Brentford can do it, a lot of other teams can, in my opinion. So we'll see. We'll see if Liverpool fix up that defence. I know they're playing Van Dijk and Trent and all of that, but they still seem to get got at. All right, we move. Let's go on to the blue side of Merseyside. The blue side of Merseyside, that sounds cool. Where Andros Townsend and co once again. And you know what? Shout out Andros. He's having a very good season. Rafa Benitez, he did... you know what? It is weird. He said this on TalkSport at work, and he did say this to me as well. He's like, playing for a manager that likes you. That's the reason he went to Everton, because he knew Benitez on the job, and he was under Benitez at Newcastle for a time, and he got on well with Benitez. And there's nothing like playing for a manager you like. If you play for a manager you like, play for a manager that trusts you, that understands you, they'll get the best out of the players. So it's nice to see Andros getting goals. Doucouré is looking decent, and Everton are looking decent. What I'm looking at right now, I know they've had a good start. It's just, can they keep fit? But the reason I feel like they can keep fit is because they actually have a squad. Last season, Everton had that really good start where they got 4 wins and 4, and Calvert-Lewin was getting all these far-fetched shouts. But now I'm looking at it, they've signed Gray, they signed Townsend. Obviously, James Rodriguez is gone. But they've signed more people. They've got a bit of a squad now. So let's see how well Everton do. Right now, out of the top 6, I feel like they could maybe creep into the top 6. That's probably their aim. But as I said, it's way too early in the league to predict stuff right now. So let's just give them their flowers and keep it moving, shall we? West Ham bounced back against Leeds United. Antonio continues his fine form by getting a 90th minute winner. Top of the Premier League, top of the Premier League, not top of the Premier League table, top goal scorer in the Premier League right now, Mikel Antonio. Whoever would have thought that? But big ups to Mikel Antonio and West Ham. They played good football. Trust me, from United standpoint, I can tell you firsthand that West Ham played good football. So good for them. A nice win at Ellen Road as well. But one thing I've got to say about Leeds haven't won yet. And I know last season they were the team. They were what Brentford are doing now. The team that got promoted and thinking, right, these guys play good football. They're going toe to toe with everyone. But how long is that system sustainable? They haven't won yet. I don't want to start praising Bielsa because I did say, as much as it's fun to watch, and Bielsa's a good manager, and they went toe to toe with some teams, they can get pammed quite easily and they can lose quite easily. We saw that in the first game of the season with United. If you're going to go toe to toe with United and not have a game plan, if they have better players, you're going to lose. So I'm not sure how good that tactic is, because as much as Leeds are a decent team, but I can name you a lot of clubs that have better players than Leeds right now. And if you're going to go toe to toe with them, you need to either do it constantly and try and get a result, or it's just not going to be sustainable. Now, I'm not going to say Leeds are going to get relegated, because I don't think they are. But if they want to improve, they can't just keep going toe to toe with teams with bigger and better teams, because they're not going to gain any points. They'll gain points against the little teams, and maybe they might gain the occasional draw here or there against a top 6 side and have a good outing. But I don't think this system is sustainable for Marcelo Bielsa and his Leeds side. They still haven't won yet this season, which is quite surprising. Everyone would have said, they would have been a top 10 team or top 10 or 12 around them sides. But we'll see. Still early days. We're only 4 or 5 games in now, so we've got time. Leicester continued there in different form, in a sense. It's a weird one with Leicester, because I watched their game against Napoli and I was thinking, okay, they started off really well, but then you could see Napoli were the better team, and so much so Victor Osimhen got the equaliser and it was justified. And then obviously they lost to Brighton, which was unlucky, to be fair, in my opinion. I feel like that loss was very unlucky to Brighton. It was very unlucky to get those 2 disallowed goals. That's a bit ridiculous, but it is what it is. And looking at this game, you're thinking, okay, home to Burnley, who haven't won yet, this is surely 3 points for us. But right now they drew. And it's a weird one, because Leicester are a good side. They're FA Cup champions, the Community Shield, and then Europa League right now. And they've added a bit to their squad. So I'm thinking, okay, Leicester, this is a game Leicester should be winning. I'm not saying it's going into panic mode yet, but if Leicester want to reach the aspirations that they want, especially this season, they need to be winning these games. These should be easy wins for Leicester, and dropping points to Burnley at home that could haunt them in the latter stages of this season. So they really need to be careful with that. I'm not saying we're in panic mode now, and I'm not saying Brendan Rodgers out. That's ridiculous. But they need to make sure, if they want to be in the top 4 or be the top 6 or anything around them sides, these games at Burnley at home, you must be winning. But we'll see with Leicester. Ismaila Sarr continues his fine form. We already knew about him when he first came onto the scene in the Premier League 2 seasons ago, and then he was decent in the Championship once again. And now Watford look pretty decent. I know they got a draw against Newcastle, but they beat Norwich last week 3-1 away from home. So listen, Is Watford stay up? Ismaila Sarr says, but don't be surprised if you see him going to a big club anytime soon. Or not even a big club, but a bigger and better club, because we can clearly see there's talent there. I know if all my Football Manager guys or all my FIFA career mode guys know about Ismaila Sarr before he went to Watford, so you know that he is a good player. And I like Watford. You know, they've got a couple Nigerians with Dennis and Tobo, so I'm happy that they got a decent result against Newcastle. Again, Newcastle, that maybe should have been a game they should have seen themselves winning, but Steve Bruce era, and things are not going right for Newcastle at the moment. They're not a bad side. They do have a couple of injuries, so I feel like a fully fit Newcastle, they should be fine. The North London derby happened today, 4:30 kickoff, and Arsenal were the eventual winners, winning 3-1. Now, that's the most Arsenal scored this season in the Premier League. They doubled their tally. Well, their tally was 2, so they doubled it at first and then made it 3. And watching the game and watching the goals, the second goal was a really good counter-attacking goal. Tottenham tried to press, and Arsenal just went through the press, and a nice little tidy finish by Aubameyang. And Emile Smith-Rowe got on the score sheet, and so did Saka. So right now, it's looking obviously a big win for Arsenal, because way before this, before they won at Burnley, people were calling for Arteta's head. I'm not saying Arteta should be let off the hook just yet, but right now, enjoy the derby win. There's nothing like it, especially as a fan. And right now, things are looking up for Arsenal. They looked pretty decent against a bang average Tottenham side, if I do say so myself. So we'll see. We'll see how Arsenal go over the rest of the season. But speaking of Tottenham, I think right now Tottenham are dusted. And it's unfortunate because Harry Kane doesn't want to be there. Like, I'm not sure if any basketball fans out there, or if you've got YouTube, or if you should be watching this on YouTube, but go on another tab when this video is finished and go watch Magic Johnson say, "I'm not going to be here." And that is what Harry Kane should have done, because I know we all know he wanted to leave. He didn't come to work because he didn't want to be there. He tried to pull up Ben Simmons, but you see what Ben Simmons is doing right now. He's doing it properly, because he said, "I'm not coming. I'm not coming to chat to you guys. I do not want to be here." And I'm sorry, Harry Kane doesn't look good right now. We can't say he's out of form with Tottenham, and I don't want to say he's because with England he looked fine. He looked fine. He was scoring for it. He hasn't scored for Tottenham in the league this season. He scored for England. He looked fine during the Euros. Like, Harry Kane just doesn't want to be there, and it's unfortunate because not only are you hurting your career and lowering down your stock, which I guess is happy, because the lower his stock, the easier more clubs can try and get him. But it's hurtful for the Tottenham fans. And this could end sour. I'm not saying his legacy is going to get ruined, because I feel like he's one of Tottenham's greatest ever players. But it's ruining the stock right now. I feel like some of the fans can tell that he doesn't want to be there, and it's just not good. If you don't want to be there, then we don't want you to play for our club. It's that situation. So whether he goes in January, I know I'm not sure if City have got the piece to do it, or City will do it, but we'll have to wait and see until January. But right now, it just looks like Harry Kane doesn't want to be there, and Nuno can tell. Everyone can tell, and they just don't look good right now. Tottenham look like they have no identity. They didn't play that well. Son's back. Son's got on the score sheet. Got the little consolation goal for Spurs, but it just looks bad right now for Spurs. And if they want to be reaching that top 6, or trying to get back into that top 6, they need to do better, and they need to either sort out this Harry Kane situation, because if you're going to play him, you're going to have to play him as a striker. He's like it. He wants to drop deep like he's 2014 Rooney, and it's just not working right now. He's in other people's spaces and I know the thing is, this is Tottenham's issue. Tottenham don't have that creative midfielder in a sense, so he's trying to go down the pitch and create and score. And sometimes, like, listen, if he goes to a bigger club, there's no way on God's green earth he's going to be doing that. Do you think Harry Kane could go to City and be in Gundogan's or Kevin De Bruyne's space? They'll look at him and be like, "Nah, bro, we don't do that here. You do your striking duties, and I will find you." And it's unfortunate for both parties, because Spurs are reeling from this now, and Harry Kane just looks like he doesn't want to be there. So we hope this situation gets resolved, because we're kind of tired of talking about it, and it's just sad to see for Tottenham fans, because I don't want it to end sour. Especially, like, there's nothing like a player that you love and it ends sour. I don't think it will, but it's not looking good right now. But last but not least, we never really talk about the relegation sides. I feel like we should quickly touch on Norwich. As I said, they lost to Watford last week, and they lost again, and now 6 straight losses. And with Norwich is a weird one, because do you remember when Norwich came back 2 seasons ago and they beat City 4-3 and it was a Pookie party and everyone had Pookie in their fantasy and we're like, yeah, Norwich played good football. They're going toe-to-toe with teams. It's not the way forward. If you don't have the players to do it, do not play that way, because it's not sustainable. Now, this is the thing, and I would love to speak to a Norwich fan and literally ask their opinion about this, because they're a yo-yo club. They're going to get relegated this season, and they're going to go straight back up because they're too good for the Championship. They're going to body the Championship next season, so they're too good for it. But what's the fun in just going up and down, up and down, up and down? Do you not want to stay in the Premier League? Now, I kind of have to blame Daniel Farke in a sense, because you've been at the side for more than 5 years now. You know how to. You have Premier League experience. If I was a manager, I'd be like, okay, we tried to play good football 2 seasons ago. It worked. We got them good results. Beating City at Carrow Road, yeah, loved it. But it's not sustainable. We got relegated at the end of the day. So we need to switch up the way we play. Now, look at Burnley, for example. Norwich played better football than Burnley. But one has been in the Premier League for 6 years, and Norwich keep going up and down. And right now, I know which one I'd rather be. It's Burnley. Norwich's football looks better on the eye, but it's not sustainable. And Norwich need to play that sustainable football to play in the Premier League. And I have to blame the manager, because can't you not learn from your mistakes? Now, I'm not saying you have to play as rigid as Burnley. I know that's Burnley's way of doing it, and we don't. Even though Burnley haven't won yet, no one thinks Burnley are going to get relegated, because we know they'll pick up them results. We know what Sean Dyche is capable of with that Burnley side, so they will be fine. But with this Norwich side, I know it's only 6 games in, but they're down. And it's fine. It's fine that they're going to be down, because they're going to be back up the next season, because they're too good. The football they play and they like to play is very good for the Championship, because you're better than everyone else here. But unfortunately, in the Premier League, you don't have the P's. You're not a big club. So if you're going to play that type of football, you're going to get battered. And you don't have good players like that, especially in this level. So why don't they just switch up the way they play, try and just grind out results, and try and stay in the league for once? Now, I know Daniel Farke is probably doing that, but the way they play football, I'm sorry, it's not sustainable in the Premier League. And to be a yo-yo club constantly, is it not boring as a fan? I've never had to experience my team get relegated, but I wouldn't like to get relegated and then win the Championship and then get relegated again and then win the Championship. It'll get boring after a while. It's just a never-ending cycle. So we'll see with Norwich. That is one team I know it's only 6 games in and we've got 32 left, but I can put my hat down and say, you know what? These men are getting relegated because they're just happy to be here and they're just going to get their Premier League money and go down and come back up again. So that is one team I can say that is definitely going down, and they need to switch it up for the good of the club, for the good of everyone. Are we not all tired of just Norwich coming up and down? Even in the notes where Sam, who's the co-founder of Undiluted Media, he even put Norwich should be banned from the Prem. And I agree, man. There's no need to be here if you're going to be doing that nonsense. Just learn how to grind out results. I know you want to play this good style of football. And yes, if you grind out results and have a plan, and maybe you can do it in the Premier League. But right now, you are not getting results. You need to switch up the way you play, even if it's sitting behind the back and getting on the counter. I know it's boring and I know it's not ideal, but you need to find a way to get results, because this is not working. And I don't know how they can't see that by now. I remember BT Sport and Joe Cole going in depth of how well these lot play and what these lot do, and their whole philosophy of they buy these certain players because they want to play this type of football. It's all good in the Championship, and that's why you win the Championship, and that's why you get promoted, because it's good and it works. But once you get to the Premier League, you're playing with the big boys, and that team's not going to run. So they need to stop it. They need to sort it out. This is just my opinion, of course, and I'd love to speak to a Norwich fan and see if they agree. But it's boring, because we know you're going to get relegated and then you're going to come back up the same season, and then next year on the Undiluted Football Show I probably might be saying this. So it's annoying, but I don't support them. I don't really care. But as a Premier League fan and a fan of the Premier League, I feel like they should sort it out. But that is all we've got time for in the Undiluted Football Show. Next week, we're going to talk about some Champions League football because there's some juicy games coming up. PSG versus City. Messi, Neymar, and Baps, they're not looking too well right now, but we'll see if what they can do at City. And United have Villarreal, I think. Yeah, we do have Villarreal, a replay of the Europa League final. So let's see if they get revenge and try to bounce back a result. But thank you for watching another episode of the Undiluted Football Show. You can subscribe to Undiluted Football Media on YouTube. You can also follow Undiluted Media on Twitter at Undiluted Media 1 and on Instagram at Undiluted Media. I've been your host, Toni Afoke. That's my at there if you want to follow me. If you have any questions or if you're a Norwich fan and you want to tell me otherwise, please let me know. But until next time, people.